Hey VC, Midge here, a guy in a hat who loves to talk about records. I hope you're all really enjoying your summers. It's been a glorious one in the UK. I hope it's making you feel fine, and I hope the occasional breezes are blowing through the jasmine of your mind. And I thought it was about time that I did a video about some new releases I've been picking up. Obviously, these are all for June. I know we're heading towards the end of July as I'm recording this, so I'm a bit behind. But I thought I'd point out 5 albums that I bought in June, all new releases that are worthy of your attention, I think, and hopefully turn you on something or turn you off on something. It's, probably a bit 50-50 with me. But let's start with one of an artist that I've sort of rediscovered really in the last couple of years, and it's the new album from Beth Orton, and this is called The Ground Above. And I love Beth Orton back in the day. Trailer Park, her first album, was great. Central Reservation was great. Daybreaker was good as too. And then I sort of I dropped out of listening to Beth Orton for some reason. So I skipped a few albums, and then I came back to her in, I think it was 2022. She had an album out called Weather Alive, and I really enjoyed it. Someone said to me, have you heard the new Beth Orton album? It's got a really distinctive sort of new sound to it. And I checked it out and I really loved it. And I'm happy to report that this one is even better. So unbelievably, this is her 9th studio album. You don't sort of think how long she's been around, but she's been around for ages. And this album's fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant. I've been playing this to death. Beth Orton's sound has changed a little bit. It is no longer sort of like the folktronica trip hop type sound that she had in the early days. And this one, it's sort of like she's gone for like a mature sort of sophisticated pop sound. And it's really cool. When I'm listening to it, it sort of reminds me of those sort of like classic 80s type albums, like Roxy Music's Avalon, that sort of sophisticated, really laid back and chilled sort of sound. There's a lot of talk I hear in here. There's lots of like muted trumpets and skittering beats, and it's all really laid back and it's all really chilled. And the Blue Nile would be a good comparison as well. And Weather Alive was kind of like this, but I think this one takes it to a whole new level. On the first couple of tracks, she really stretches out. The Ground Above, the title track, is about 8 minutes long, and it's sort of like really gently sort of moves along. And Beth's voice it's sort of really changed over the years. It's quite weathered, and I mean that in a nice way. It's sort of like it's a bit cracked at times. It sounds a bit broken, really fragile, really vulnerable, and she uses it in a really cool way on these songs. In terms of like, you can hear the hurt in some songs. You can hear that she's had a life experience, and it all sounds really cool. And it's a great sort of like late summer night type album. I've been listening to it in the garden and stuff on, these hot summer nights. It's absolutely beautiful. Like I say, it's got that sort of laid back, sophisticated pop sound that a lot of bands had in the 80s. And it's sort of like got its own like sonic landscape. And, there's a lot of detail there. Every sort of thing is there for a reason. And it's sort of really laid back. It's really smooth. And, it's an absolutely beautiful album. Adrian Newtley from Portishead contributes on here as well as the Bees, Paul Butler. I always loved the Bees. I always thought they were a really underrated band. And Paul Butler pops up every now and again, doesn't he? He's sort of like he contributed a lot to the early Michael Kiwanuka albums and things like that. But really underrated musician, and he contributes a lot of the string arrangements on here. And it's just a great album. There's a couple of tracks that really stretch out to 8 or 7 minutes. And the second side has got a lot of shorter songs on it, and it's such a beautiful laid back album. If you've not picked up any Beth Orton albums for a while, honestly pick this one up. It's absolutely superb, and there's some great highlights on it. The opening track, the 8-minute track, The Ground Above, is really good, and I think the album is sort of like it's It's about battling your way through life. I presume the ground above is more or less referring to the fact that you're still above ground rather than below it, and you're trying to make the best out of life, and you're trying to fight back. And you always have an image of best sort of like in zombie films where they all come out of the graves. I'm still here sort of thing. It sounds a bit weird, but yeah, you sort of like. You're bruised and you're cracked and life has thrown a lot at you, but you're still here and you're still battling and you're still loving and you're still enjoying life. And I think that's mainly the sort of theme of the album. And there's some great lyrics on here as well. Waiting is a great song. It's all about, finding the right moment to, you've been through some stuff and, life's constantly on your back, but you're waiting for the moment to break out and be the person you've always wanted. I've been waiting for the hurting to stop. I've been waiting for the punchline to drop. I've been hovering around like a ghost. I've been playing down them penny arcades, celebrating what a big win I've made. Lyrically, it's just great. It's just like a song about fighting back, basically. And the closing song, The Other Side, that's an absolutely beautiful song as well. That's great. It's all about her hearing the birds singing outside in the morning when she wakes up, and it's sort of like the realization that the birds are calling out and they're saying, we're still here, we're still alive, we've made it through the night. And yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful song, and the whole album's beautiful. I can't recommend it enough. If you've not tried any Beth Orton for a while, this is one to get. Honestly, it's brilliant, especially if you like those artists and albums that I mentioned before. I do think of Roxy Music's Avalon a lot when I'm listening to this album, and I love that album. So yeah, this is in a similar sort of vein. It's on a really nice, what they call, it's like a smoky cigarette curl vinyl, named after one of the tracks on the album. And also, quite thoughtfully of Beth, she put me a signed postcard in the album. I'm sure it was for me. I'm not sure if you'll get one if you buy this album, but yeah, a signed postcard, which was nice. And yeah, honestly, album of the month for June for me. Beth Orton's A Ground Above. Honestly, check it out. It's amazing. Brilliant album. So the next two new release albums I picked up in June are both electronic in nature, but also they've got a really summery feel to them. And I've talked about this before in my videos, I'm a bit weird with music in terms of there's only I can listen to certain genres of music in the summer, I can't listen to them in the winter, and vice versa. So when I listen to stuff, I don't know, it's dictated in a way by what time of year it is and things like that. Obviously, you can't help when things are released, but some albums just sound better at different types of the year. And I know I'm a bit odd, but that's the way I am, unfortunately. But these next two are just perfect for this time of year. They're really summery, they're really upbeat, and they're just laced in, August, June, July, August type vibes, just summer albums through and through. So the first one is by an electronic artist, Martin Jenkins. You probably know of him better under his moniker Pie Corner Audio, and he's been going for quite a long time now. I think I first became aware of him in the 2010s, and I've more or less bought everything he's released since then. He's a great electronic artist. He started off doing sort of like quite dark and brooding type retro sounding electronica with analog synths and stuff, so it's no surprise that a few of his releases ended up on the Ghostbox label, because it had that sort of hauntology, sort of retro type, misremembered theme tune type albums. He's made so many different albums, so many different releases. He's used different monikers for them, and different approaches on, and depending on what moniker he's using, but he's done a lot under Pie Corner Audio, and that's what he's most famous for. And yeah, I think I've got mainly most of the stuff he's done, because I love what he does, and this one's no exception. He made an album for the Sonic Cathedral label. He's made loads of albums for loads of different labels, but he made an album called Let's Emerge a couple of years ago, where it was all about the sunshine and the sun. And so he's returned to that, and this album, again on Sonic Cathedral, it's called More Songs About the Sun. And it's fantastic. It's sort of like a continuation of the sound he started on Let's Emerge. So all the songs are mostly instrumental. There's a few songs where he sings on them, but the vocals are quite buried in the mix. And there's also a spoken word track over backing by the author Ian Rankin, spoken word monologue piece over a backing track. But the rest of the songs are just full on sun saturated instrumental electronica. But this time he's roped in Andy Bell, obviously of Ride and later on Oasis, to add some guitars to 4 of the tracks. So there's a really sort of like overdriven pedal effect, saturated sound to a lot of the tracks. So if you like bands like Ride or Spaceman 3 or things like that, then there's a real shoegaze type of sound that runs through this album. So if you're a fan of My Bloody Valentine, anything like that, but of a more lighter nature, then you'll love this album. It has got a real sort of shoegazy quality to it, and it's brilliant. It's sort of like there's lots of effects in here. There's a lot of saturation, there's a lot of distortion, but it's all based around melody. It's not hard to listen to. It's not avant-garde. It's got loads of melody in it, but the way it's recorded, it's just like it sounds like a really hot, scorching day. I don't know how he's managed it, but it does. It sounds like a scorching hot summer day, sort of music that you listen to in a desert. And like I say, really sort of loads of distortion, loads of saturation, lots of shoegaze elements to it, and it's just really cool. It sounds really summery. For example, the track "The Race Is Run," it's sort of really drowsy. The vocals are buried deep in the mix. There's a lot of chiming guitars in it, and just like a great sunshiny feel. And another highlight is the track 8,000 Years. It's full of summery synth melodies with like a retro feel. And at times, some of the tracks sound almost Balearic in nature. Like, you'd expect to hear them in a club in Ibiza, like a chilled out sort of vibe to it. And like a psychedelic swirl almost, a swirl of guitars and synths, and it just sounds really cool. Drony guitar loops. Cycle is another great track, loads of big beats to it and like a driving bass line, and it's got like a really sort of 80s Vangelis feel to the synths on that track, which is really cool. And the track Rays of Sunshine, it sounds fantastic. It's a sort of track you can imagine just laying on a sun lounger in a hot country and just listening to it, and you can hear the waves lapping. And so yeah, it's full of distortion, it's full of saturation. It sounds like summer to me. It does exactly what it says on the tin. More songs about the sun. It does sound like a sun sort of drenched shoegazy type instrumental electronica album, and it's absolutely superb. So if you've never tried any Pie Corner audio, this is probably a good place to start. It's not like his other material, and like I say, it's got more guitars on this one, and it's just a brilliant summer album in my opinion. It's cool. It's really cool. It's on Sonic Cathedral. It's got this great artwork in a die cut sleeve, which is really cool. The artwork's really cool, and obviously it's a bright yellow sun type vinyl colour, and yeah, it's just another great album. Great sequel to Let's Emerge, and if you like this one, you'll like that one too from a couple of years ago. But if you've never tried any Pie Corner audio before, you want to try some summery electronica, this is the album to check out. So yeah, Pie Corner audio, more songs about the sun, superb. So the next album I'm going to recommend is very similar in feel. It's by another electronic artist who I've loved for a long time, and the album has a really summery vibe to it. So this is by the artist Fortet, real name Kieran Hebden, and I've been a huge fan of Fortet ever since his second album, Pause. I think it came out in 2001. And I've loved his sound, and ever since then, again, I think I've picked up most of the stuff he's released over the years. And it's got to the point where you sort of think, do I really need another Fortet album? Kieran has changed his sound slightly at times, but nothing too radical. But the answer for me has always been yes, because I can't get enough of this sort of stuff that he produces. It's absolutely incredible. It's a mixture of sort of club vibes, house, ambient, folktronica at times. and but his sound is really upbeat. It's really sort of like shimmery, summery, so it's perfect for this time of year. It's always bursting with melody, and it's just really upbeat, feel good instrumental electronica. And he's worked with other artists as well. I think it was last year he worked with the Nashville guitarist William Tyler and produced a great album there, which was a mixture of styles. And this latest one is a limited edition release under what's called his Wingding alias. So it's not actually credited to him. It's not actually credited to anybody. There's not even any track listings. All that he's used for this is a series of unpronounceable, unsearchable type winding emojis, I suppose you'd call them, or symbols. So it's a deliberate act of self-sabotage. So you can't search for this album; it's unsearchable. So, but someone has found it. I can't remember. If I remember, I'll put a link down below so you can get to the Bandcamp page where it's on. You can check it out. But you can't really search for it. So it is a Forte album, but it's under a different, unpronounceable, bizarre alias. And to give you an example, this is what the track listing looks like on Discogs, and this is what it looks like on the Bandcamp page. So good luck in pronouncing them titles. I'm not going to. So the album itself has no title either. So this is the album. It's got no title, it's got no artist name, and there's no track listing on the vinyl. It's become known as the catalogue number, which is Text 059, Text being Kieran Hebden's personal label. So no track titles, no artist titles, no album title. So it's not that easy to find, to be honest. It came out as a limited run of 2,000 copies, which sold out more or less straight away. But fear not, there is a repress at the end of August if you fancy checking this out. But again, I think you'll have to be really, really quick to pick up a copy of this album. And lovely sleeve there, spot gloss varnish sleeve. And so what's it like, Midge? Well, I'll tell you, it's just typical Kieran Hebden magic. It's got 4 tracks, some are extended, and it's just got a great summery vibe to it. Again, it's using his typical template of sort of dance floor, 4 to the floor beats, sometimes intricate, sometimes really upfront. There's some beautiful cascading melodies that sound like tubular bells or things like that, or chimes. And it's just one of those albums that's just soaked in sun. I think a lot of his tracks are like that. He's got a really like joyous, upbeat sound, never dull, never. You always feel good listening to his albums, and they always seem to match the summer months perfectly for me. So there's a various mixture of styles on here as per usual. You've got the tracks have some of his Eastern influences thrown in as sort of loops. You've also got hard dance floor beats, but with an ambient backing. In fact, there's 2 songs on here that sound like, just ambient classics. They sounds like they could have come off Aphex Twin's Selected Ambient Works. They're that good. So there's 2 sort of laid back, really ambient tracks, and the rest of them are quite upbeat, sort of 4 to the floor, dance floor type tracks. But they're just absolutely beautiful. There's one track in particular that has like a warped steel drum melody that goes through it. But I mean, it's very hard to say, because I could say, well, A2 sounds like this, A3 sounds like this, because I'm not going to use the unmentionable track titles. But what can you say? It's the trouble with an artist that goes on for so long is that you think, have I heard all the best that they're going to release? And the answer is no. But you're thinking, do I need another Forte album? I know what he sounds like. I know what he does so well. But personally speaking, for me, I would buy umpteen albums, which I have done really, of this sort of stuff, because I love it. And Kieran Hebden does it so well. So, I would personally recommend you to try and find a copy of this album when it's repressed in August. The catalogue number is Text 059. Like I say, it's what the album's become to be known as. and it's if you know what Fortet sounds like, you'll love it. It's really upbeat. It's really sort of sunshiny, day glow type house music type electronica, and it's beautiful. If you love Kieran Hebden, you will love this album, and that's all there is to say about it. But it is still a glowing recommendation. So good luck finding it. If I remember, I'll leave a link to the Bandcamp page below if I can work out what it is actually under. But yeah, highly recommend this. And also, it's one of those albums that you can play at 45 RPM and 33 RPM. And you get two contrasting sides. Like you'll get sort of like at 45, you obviously get a more upbeat, faster paced version, whereas at 33 you get a slightly slowed down version. But it works on both ways. So there's another dimension to the album as well. But yeah, I love Forte. It can't be enough albums made for me, so I always pick them up, and highly recommend this as well. So yeah, Forte and okay, so the next album I'm going to show you also fits the summery vibe, and it's on a label that's been recommended to me by loads of VCers over the last few months, especially Steve Carlson, who's a really big fan of this label, and he did a really great video where I think he's got most of the releases on the label, and also Gordon at My Dig Vinyl. I know he's a big fan of the label as well, and I thought when I watched their videos, I thought, well, the next time the label releases something, I'll check it out and I'll see what it's like, and I did, and I really enjoyed it. And the label is Analog Africa, and this is a comp, and it's by the band, forgive my pronunciation, Los Orientales de Paramonga. And look at that cover. That cover's amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing cover. And yeah, this is a compilation of the band's sort of best work. It's taken tracks from their albums and some singles, and basically they're a band from Peru. And the two main figureheads behind it are two guys. One's called Victor Ramirez, and the other one's called Maximiliano Chavez. And they formed the band Los Orientales, and they sort of like got a really cool sound. It's like a mixture of obviously Latin percussion, lots of bongos and congos, and like a psychedelic edged guitar sound to it, which is quite unusual, I would have thought. And it's got almost elements of surf rock at times. It's just a really cool sort of sound. It's got like a psychedelic edge to it as well. It's got like a bit of echo in it, and the guitar sounds are incredible. Some of the tracks have vocals, some of them are instrumental, and there's 6, 12, 8, there's about 25 tracks on here. It's a really great compilation. And from what people have said about this label, it's all true. It's so well produced. It's really well packaged. The artwork's amazing. There's plenty of sleeve notes with the history of the band, and it's just a great release. So I was really impressed with this. It's a double LP, like I say, on the Analog Africa label. So this is my first introduction to the label and what they put out, and I'm really impressed with it. I've been loving this album. Really, lots of summery vibes and things like that, and basically the band was formed by the two guys, and what was interesting to me was that apparently the name Los Orientales came about because Maximiliano had slanted eyes, and he often hid them behind sunglasses. So I mean that's kids for you, isn't it? I mean, cruel and a little bit racist at times. So he was known as El Chino, and that's apparently was his nickname they gave him, and that's why the band was called Los Orientales. And what was interesting in the liner notes was it's one of those age-old stories of bands in terms of they were getting quite big, and I think they had a lot of big singles, and there was some sort of royalty dispute or managerial dispute, and Maximiliano went off with one manager, and Victor Ramirez went off with another one, and they sort of split there. So then it turned out that there was the guys both headed two versions of the band. So there was a band, Los Orientales de Victor Ramirez, and another band, Los Orientales de Maximiliano. And I'm not sure how that went across because, well, basically, Victor didn't have slanted eyes, but apparently he did start wearing sunglasses to try and copy him. So I'm not sure what version of the band you would have followed at the time, unless you took their sunglasses off and just thought, well, you're the real deal and you're not. But this compilation actually focuses on the Los Orientales that Victor Ramirez led. So I'm not sure how successful Maximiliano's was, but I mean, it happens all the time, doesn't it? I mean, there's two versions of UB40 touring for the last few years, hasn't there? So yeah, you can understand how it happens, but I was thinking, if you were UB40 and you were the guys in the other half of UB40 who are also touring, I think I would call myself IB42 just to piss off the UB40 guys, but that's just an aside, that's just me. But yeah, basically, great comp, really enjoyed it. So thanks, Steve, and thanks, Gordon, for putting me onto the label. Highly recommend it. Really summery vibes, sort of like I say, mixture of Latin percussion and surf rock instrumentals, psychedelic guitars, and it's just great, just a great album, just fantastic. And you don't have to have slanted eye to listen to it. And so, yeah, brilliant, superb album. So the last of the new releases from June I'm going to talk to you about is a band that I got into on their previous album. I really enjoyed it, so I thought I'd take a chance on the latest one. And this is an American experimental avant-garde type band, and they're called Horse Lords. And this is their latest, Demand to be Taken to Heaven Alive, which is a great title. And basically their sound is sort of like, I think you probably put it under the genre tag math rock, which seems to be quite popular at the moment. Basically, it's lots of different time signatures, lots of sort of abstract, complex music. Some of it's atonal, and there's like quite a lot of saxophone in it. So sometimes it's got that skronky type saxophone sound to it. But it's very rhythmic. It's sort of quite new wave-ish. It's quite jerky. Sometimes it can be quite punky. Lots of rhythm in there, obviously. Lots of changing time signatures, and a lot of sort of like, sort of abstract type rhythms. But a good listen. And on this one, they've gone for like a different sort of sound. Well, there's another element to the sound. They've added in sort of female vocals to it. And they're obviously wordless vocals, there's no lyrics. And they've got like a kind of like folk type pitch to them. And they're sort of digitally cut up and spread throughout the album. So it gives it another dimension to the sounds. There's a lot of like female vocals that are added as part of the rhythms of some of the backgrounds of the tracks. And like I say, it's sort of like quite repetitive. There's lots of difficult sort of riffs that are constantly used and repeated. Quite abstract. 1 minute's sort of like a tonal. There's like a bit of saxophone in there. The sort of skronky type saxophone sound that Captain Beefheart and at times Frank Zappa favoured. And but lots of like interlocking rhythms. It's quite complex music, but it's all got a groove to it. It's got a really sort of great groove and jerky rhythm to it throughout. But like I say, spread throughout this album, the additional element of sound this time is sort of like the digital cut-ups of the female vocals. Lots of cool rhythmic patterns, and yeah, an interesting listen. It's one of those albums that fit into the category of when I put it on, my wife says, "What the fuck is this, and why are you making me listen to it?" So I think you can guess what sort of sound it's got to it. And like I say, quite experimental. If I'm honest, it's not as good as their last album, in my opinion. The female cut vocals is a nice touch, but I must be honest, by the time I get to the end of the album, I'm getting quite sick of it, to be honest with you. But again, it's an interesting listen. Obviously the first side has lots of it's sort of presented as a one long suite, so you can listen to it. It's all the tracks segue into another. So there's the first side has quite a lot of small rhythmic type patterned instrumentals, and then on the B side there's like a 10-minute track that ends the album. They've all got the female vocal type cut-ups in them. So that's the theme of this album this time. But it's quite, it's quite atonal, it's quite disjointed, there's lots of rhythms, it's quite groovy at times, but it can be a demanding listen at times. So this might be one for the more adventurous listeners among you. Obviously not my wife, because she doesn't like it at all. But like I say, I like it, but I don't think it's as good as their last album. But worth a listen, definitely worth a listen. And it comes on this nice white vinyl, which is nice. And yeah, worth a listen if you like something a little bit different. But that's the band Horse Lords and Demand to be Taken to Heaven Alive. And that's it for June. So hopefully you'll find something there that you like. My wife probably wouldn't again. But yeah, let me know if you check any of these out and you think they're worth getting. And don't let me know if you hate them and you think my music taste is terrible. So yeah, that's it for June, and I'll hopefully see you in July for another roundup, and see you on the next video. But thanks for watching, and thanks for listening to my very sort of poor descriptions of these albums, but I'm hoping I've given you enough of a hook to investigate further. If not, I won't bother watching another one of my videos, but I'll leave that to you. But if you did, cheers. See you on the next one.